Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We're so glad you're here. It's clear to see we have the most brilliant minds, the prettiest ladies, and the most beautiful gentlemen with us today. Today is a great day to say, I love you. Today is a great day to shine. Let's try it. I will say, I love you, and you repeat it. I love you. As a symbol of our love, everyone is gifted a yellow rose. Hold it so I can explain the meaning. These symbolize friendship, appreciation, joy, celebration, warmth, delight, affection, gladness, and love. All the good things in life. Thank you. You may notice various shades of pink in the audience. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Some of our members and friends who would normally be here are ill, suffering from cancer and other diseases. We keep them in our hearts and pray they will be completely healed soon. I will close now by saying, I love you, and you reply, I love you. Thank you. And now we will hear greetings by beautiful Betty Bishop, our Alumni Council Chair.
I'm not here.
We don't see you.
I just want to welcome all of you here today for the fall meeting of the Alumni Council. And I know that we also got people attending this virtually, and a welcome to them. And if anyone has not taken care, if you're a driver of a car, hopefully you have registered your car at the front desk. If you have not done so, please slip out quietly and put down this parking space number on the sheet at the front desk. I will be back to talk to you much more when we come to the business meeting after lunch.
Now we will hear from Andy Carl, who represents this wonderful botanical garden and initial garden.
Good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me well enough? So good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome the Alumni Council to Math Botanical Gardens this morning. I'm Andy Traw. I'm the visitor experience lead here at Math Botanical Gardens, class of 2003. For what it's worth, I know you all find that hard to believe that I graduated 20 years ago. I do too. So many of you are likely familiar with the art. Some of you may be familiar with Math, where we are today. The Arboretum and Gardens, just a little bit of history, were established in 1907 by the university. Oh, yes, sorry. Collectively today, our organization now stewards about 700 acres of land for the university across 4 locations. So we have 2 public locations, Mathi and Nichols, and 2 locations that are primarily used for research and frankly that were donated to the university that we manage at this point in time. Which are Horn McLaughlin Woods and Mud Lake Bog. The Botanical Gardens was established here on Dixboro Road in the mid-1960s. The land was donated by Frederick Mathi, who was former regent of the university. And over the past 60 years or so, our role within the university and the community has changed very dramatically. When this facility was established, you may have noticed walking in today, this looks like an old elementary school. This primarily was built as a research and classroom facility. It was designed for students and faculty research. Over the past roughly 60 years now, we've moved from essentially what was a look and learn old model of botany education, where basically professor would point at a plant and say, this is whatever the Latin name is. And the students would then recite it back and everybody would then move on. Today, we are now a deeply rooted resource for the entire local community, both the university, the city at large, and the surrounding areas. We see about 500,000 visitors a year between Mathi and Nicholas. So to put that in perspective, Michigan Medicine sees a little over 2 million visitors a year. Football sees 800-ish thousand visitors a year. And then there's us. So it's a great source of pride for our organization. And something that we want to talk about a little bit more in the coming years. Last year, we launched a new mission and a 5-year strategic plan. We see the university and the world at large continuing to change around us. We see ourselves uniquely positioned to be a force for change and something more than just a pretty place for people to go to. Ceresa's message was very apropos this morning. I'm not going to read our entire new mission to you all. It's a little long and wordy. However, our mission at the end of the day is really all about love. We want to be a force for not just ecological justice and restoration, but also for social justice. We want to increase access to nature for all people. We want to increase access to play for all people. As you have the opportunity today to explore our property a little bit more, if the weather cooperates, I think the sun is supposed to still come out at some point today. We have one of the finest children's gardens in the country. It's built all around principles of nature play, self-directed play for youth. We also host, and I strongly encourage you all to see this today because the bonsai garden will be closing for the year on Halloween. We took a large donation from Dr. Melvin Goldstein, who is also an alum of the university, earlier this year, pretty much completed his gift. We are proud to say that we now may have the most significant collection of bonsai trees in the Western Hemisphere. Certainly Satsuki azaleas come back at the end of May and early June when the peonies are blooming. Come on over to Mathi too. The trees are spectacular if you've not ever seen them. We've also, over the last 20 or 25 years, restored a large amount of our properties and the lands that we steward back to their natural states and their natural habitats, which is something that is extremely important, again, as the university goes forward. If you're familiar with the Vision 2050 process that the university has been going through, there's a lot of interest in reducing the amount of lawn that the university maintains and the amount of petunias that the university plants every year. And we really see ourselves as a model of that. We also are the location for the campus farm, which was established as a student organization many years ago. The purpose and sort of the mission of the campus farm is students growing food for students. They provide a large amount of food to the residence halls organization, the student food pantry, and after many years and the successful leadership of that program, they're now actually in a position where they're donating food to other places. Last but not least, as far as the fun and exciting and things that we're kind of proud and boastful of, as the university has worked to, or continues to work, to restore and improve relationships with the indigenous communities, our organization does take a very leading role in that. We have been hosting the Indigenous Collaborative Garden for many, many years now, which is part of the seed repatriation project for the university. We also, in the hopefully not so distant future, will be part of a project to grow wild rice or manumin in Willow Pond, which is just kind of across the parking lot, as an effort to help to increase the population of wild rice throughout the state of Michigan. So all in all, we are a pretty place and we love a lot of things around here. We're extraordinarily excited to see you all this morning. Welcome, enjoy. And yes, hopefully it doesn't rain and you all get to have some fun. If not, the conservatory is beautiful today. And go blue, I think is how we wrap it. Yeah, we are sure. It's showing this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, the room is street in there. So
I'm sorry.
Yes.
This time I had to drive to the US, and I didn't want to have to pay. So I wanted to be honest, so I had to drive through.
Thank you. We appreciate meeting Danny.
No, it's not a long.
And now, we will hear from our wonderful liaison, Classy Kelly Dosar, Director of Alumni Engagement, to bring exciting greetings from the Alumni Association.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. I am Kelly Josar. I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement with the Alumni Association here at the University of Michigan. I'm honored to be here with you today at the fall meeting and extend greetings from all on behalf of the Alumni Association. It has been a busy and exciting fall here at the university and at the Alumni Association. This past Thursday, we announced that Ayanna McConnell has been named President and CEO of the Alumni Association. I can assure you, everyone within the association is thrilled by this news. Ayanna has more than 25 years of experience leading student and alumni programs at the University of Michigan and Eastern Michigan University. Previous to her role as CEO, she served as the association's vice president for university relations, during which she oversaw all aspects of the association's university relations, student, and fundraising programs. She also led the association's strategic initiatives in diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. Ayanna first joined the association in 2011 to design the student community for the LEAD Scholars Program. Ayana is a force for good on campus and within the alumni community, and I know our organization will thrive under her leadership. In addition to this, the alumni engagement team is excited to share that we will be adding a new affiliate and affinity manager position to our team in the new year. Our strategic plan has outlined a framework to drive growth in both numbers and engagements within our affiliate and affinity networks. In the next 5 years, we look to add resources and programming that help support diverse alumni engagement. Having a dedicated resource is critical to delivering on our goals. I look forward to welcoming this new hire to our team and introducing them to you in 2024. Finally, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Alumni Council for taking part in our annual homecoming tailgate in September. We all gathered on Ferry Field on a beautiful fall day to celebrate being alums of the best university in the world. It was wonderful to see so many from this group interacting with other alums and showcasing the great work you do. I hope this is the beginning of a great collaboration during homecomings to come. On behalf of the Alumni Association, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all members of the Alumni Council for your volunteerism, leadership, and fundraising efforts. Thank you to the chair, Betty Bishop, for your leadership and for including me in today's event. And a special thank you to Dean Celeste Watkins-Hayes for your campus leadership and for being the featured speaker here today. Enjoy this beautiful fall day in this beautiful ambiance, and go blue.
I thought you were bringing exciting news. And now, let us welcome our reigning Regal Regent, Sarah Hubbard, Board Chair, as she comes to bring inspiring greetings.
Well, thank you very much. It's so great to see everybody. I have a few remarks, but I wanted to give you a little of my background as well. Many of you probably don't know, but some of you may know, as you've been active with the Alumni Council for a long time, is I was a member of the council and received the National Citation Award in 2004. So I have a long history with this group. I was on the board. I was the president of my local alumni club in Lansing. I was president of now the Greater Lansing Club, the co-ed club is what some of us might call it, right? I was served one term on the board of the Alumni Association back in that period as well. And so much of my history with clubs and with the Alumni Council has informed how I operate now on the Board of Regents. And it's part of that, you know, background. I immersed myself in the club network right after graduation. I graduated from the university in 1990. And I saw these clubs as a way to network and a way to really meet people in the U of M family, and viewed the council as that as well. I kind of ran the course of that and have not, I'm sorry, I've not been more involved lately, but I'm delighted to be here today and just meet everybody and bring greetings from the university and from the Board of Regents. And thank you so much for the beautiful corsage, and I love the yellow roses, and they are wonderful. I wanted to add my voice to my appreciation for Ayana McConnell being named CEO of the association. She is going to be wonderful. I've been a big supporter of hers, and so I hope that she'll be able to join you in a future meeting as well. I'm sure she will. So I'm sorry I forgot my pin today. I saw somebody wearing their National Service Citation Award pin. I know I still have it, but it didn't occur to me to find it this morning. So I just want to say too further, in the past, I've been active with, you know, efforts around raising funds for Henderson House. I was racking my brain to remember what used to be known as the birthday greetings committee. So I sat through many meetings of that and helping to figure out who should receive those hard fought funds as well. And I see we've renamed it to the Spirit of 1917 annual campaign, which is probably more meaningful to people than wondering what the birthday greeting is. And then the other thing I just want to mention is whenever I can, when I stay, I live in Oakland, so about an hour away near Lansing. Whenever I stay overnight in Ann Arbor, I stay at the Michigan League. And I stay there for a reason, because I think it's an amazing place. I love that small hotel there. And it's a personal mission of mine while I serve on the Board of Regents to find some way to update the Michigan League. In particular, the hotel piece of it there. I think it could be such a great magnet of attraction for people to stay when on our campus. We don't have, like many other universities have, a really nice first-rate hotel where they put up their visiting guests, VIPs, performers, those kinds of things. We don't have one. And I would love to see that transformed in that way. But for those of you who, as all of you know, the university, these things don't happen overnight. You can have great ideas and it might take years and years to accomplish, but I have made that a personal mission of mine on the Board of Regents to try and, do more, because I appreciate so much the history of the league, the history at, where it sits in women's history at the university and how important a building it is for us, and we should maintain it in a way that's appropriate to that history. I also wanted to mention, I was looking at the scholarships. Mary Kinley, was a friend of mine. Her daughter-in-law, I guess technically, is a very good friend of mine. And so I have a lot of those connections to this group as well. But I also have prepared remarks. So I'm gonna go through those as well. I just wanted to give you that background so that you know that connection you have through me to the Board of Regents. And, should any of you want to talk about that or send me an email or any of it, by all means, please let me know. But more formally, I just want to say on behalf of the board, I'm thrilled to be here with you today. We love the Botanical Gardens. I was here when Mary Sue Coleman was our interim president there briefly. We had a lovely event for her here, and it's just so great to see the vibrant fall colors. Just to further express my appreciation for the exceptional work you're doing, continue to do in helping fund the scholarships every year. As you know, your dedication translates into hundreds of thousands of dollars being awarded to deserving students. More than financial aid, they're beacons of hope, illuminating the paths of our future leaders. And your commitment serves as a testament to the Alumni Council's unwavering dedication to empowering the next generation. And that is truly inspirational and important. Reflecting on our university's journey, we've experienced a transformative year under President Ono's capable leadership. And I'd also like to welcome First Lady Wendy Ono here. His dedication to our students, staff, and the wider community has been nothing short of exemplary. Just a few weeks ago, we marked a historic moment with the groundbreaking of our new Central Campus residential development. This milestone not only addresses housing concerns on Central Campus, but also provides our marching band with a cutting-edge practice facility, ensuring their artistry continues to resonate across our campus. And if you haven't seen that location, it's Elabella Field, which is being moved. The band practice facility is being moved back about a block, just more into the floodplain. Turns out a band practice field is perfectly compatible with a floodplain because it's wet. It's wet, that's okay, right? But there's going to be a beautiful new dorm there that will house, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 students in the end. It's going to transform that part of campus by bringing such a big, vibrant community there. And that hopefully will be ready for our new students by the fall of 2025. So additionally, our commitment to fostering a diverse, equitable, and inclusive campus environment has taken a step forward with the launch of the DEI 2.0 initiative this fall. The initiative underscores our dedication to ensuring every member of our community feels valued and heard. So as we celebrate these achievements, let us acknowledge the collective role we play in the enduring success of our alma mater. Your support is invaluable. Thank you for your dedication, and as always, go Blue!
Thank you, Lady Heather. Our president, Dr. Santa Ono, has been absolutely wonderful for all of us here in Michigan. His better half, our fabulous First Lady, Dr. Wendy Gibb, has served the Pacific Canada Heritage Center Museum of Migration as President America and as current board member. She will grace us with her presence and share warm greetings. Let's put our hands together and welcome our fabulous First Lady.
Good morning. And thank you so much for your warm welcome here.
I am so pleased to be joining you today and Chair Bishop and Dean Watkins-Hayes here in. Oh, okay. I'm so pleased to join you all here and I'm looking forward to getting to know you. The gardens are beautiful. I had the honor of being here last spring for my first time when another one of your alumni from 2023 created this refugee gardens initiative, and they wanted you should look at it and be proud of things that are, the ideas of students like you were many years ago, and the tradition continues today, where bright young women are thinking how to engage, thinking how to give back to the community, and the University of Michigan gives them the opportunity to do so. It is very fitting to me here also because these gardens, have been planted by the life-giving waters of Michigan, and that is what is representative of the values of Michigan: fidelity to sustainability, commitment to a culture of growing and learning and renewing, and a dedication to engaging and building connections and serving our community groups. Both Santa and I share these commitments. And as a recent transplant to Michigan, Ann Arbor, and the University of Michigan, we are so grateful to be putting down roots in this community. I suspect you've learned a lot about Santa, and I see probably about me too, since I see my face on our faces on each table. So I won't bore you with my bio, but I would like to let you know a little bit about my journey here. Actually, Santa and I are both, immigrant families. We're both second generation. Well, it depends on which side of the border you. We're second generation in that our parents came and we were born in North America. Many of our relatives, our forebears, were in education. And interestingly, I am the one who actually have family relatives who are University of Michigan alumni. So my great aunt, so my mother's aunt, came in the 1930s and got her master's in education and met her husband here. And they were very proud Wolverines, and so was my mother's cousin. Engineering, so 2 engineers and an educator, and they brought their influence out in the rest part of the US, and I think also back in Hong Kong for a bit. So you know that the shadow of the University of Michigan casts very far indeed. I have been active. This is my 3rd time around as a first lady, or I've been previously called a university ambassador, meaning goodwill ambassador. And I find it so pleasurable and so easy to share the goodwill of university. It was at University of Cincinnati, University of British Columbia, and now here at University of Michigan. Leaders, that's really, we look forward to helping you, achieve the dreams and visions and to embody the values of this university. Because collectively, you're making such a big difference. I'm so thankful to be part of that community, the alumni of the University of Michigan, honorary alumni. I appreciate how you yourselves have changed the Michigan campus, such as raising funds to build the Michigan League, providing startup money for the Henderson House, which we say today is the first women's cooperative residence. And even more, I'm grateful for the lives you have changed. Through the scholarships you have established and programs you have advanced, such as the Center for the Education of Women, you have empowered women through education. You've enabled them to live their own lives and the lives of others. In doing so, you have ensured that like so many who come to the University of Michigan, like so many alumni, they, like you, will change the world. So thank you again for your kind welcome.
Thank you so much, and First Lady. The Alumni Council was founded in 1917 And since its inception, we have always provided scholarship money for female and male undergraduate and graduate students. Our local clubs such as Ann Arbor Margaret Ward Alumni Club, the Detroit Association, the University of Michigan Women, and the Grand Rapids Federation, just to name a few, also provide scholarship money. Our matriarch, Marilyn Boone, will update you about our collective scholarship giving. Handouts are available on receipts for easy reading.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm so glad to have you here today. And I passed out these materials and I'm going to try and be very brief. This is just a briefing so that you can take it back to your clubs and you can read it and you can see over the years how we've tried so hard to raise the money for scholarship funds and do things for the university. And I'm just going to cite a couple of the people on the couple of the clubs on this citation. So we'll begin with the league, which has Patricia Lawson and Mary Finley Endowment. They were members of some of the clubs. And in Rackham, Margaret Ayers host. That scholarship has been combined and it has only, it's grown and given out scholarships. Margaret Ayers was president of the Alumni Association in 1944. Do any of you know why you think she was? My assessment of that was World War II was going on and they probably didn't have a man to do it then. And then she was also chair of the Alumni Council. So in this packet of information, it has stories by Julian Maloney and Tyler Bowie about Henderson House. Julius is about the league. I would like you to take that back to your clubs so your people get the information of what went on a long time ago, how we've been treated, and hoping that we keep going and grow from now on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn, for that informative report. Linda Rainey, former Alumni Council board member, historian, and president emerita of the Detroit Association of University of Michigan Women, will introduce our guest speaker.
Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a great day to be in Ann Arbor and to be in the company of such amazing women and men. I looked out and saw Derek Scott, and he was here when I was here in the 70s. The Michigan Opportunity Program. Thank you. It is indeed my privilege today and an honor to introduce our speaker, Dr. Celeste Watkins-Hayes. Dr. Watkins-Hayes is the Joan and Sanford Will Dean of Public Policy at the University of Michigan's Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy, and the founding director of the school's Center for Racial Justice. Watkins-Hayes is also the Jean E. Fairfax Collegiate Professor of Public Policy, University Diversity and Social Transformation Professor, Professor of Sociology, and an Anti-Racism Collaborative Research and Community Impact Fellow. That's a lot. She's busy. She is an internationally recognized scholar and expert, widely credited for her research at the intersection of inequality, public policy, and institutions, with a special focus on urban poverty and race, class, and gender studies. Dr. Watkins-Hayes has published 2 books, numerous articles in journals, and edited volumes and pieces in the New York Times, The Atlantic, the Chronicle of Higher Education, and Chicago Magazine. She has been widely quoted in the popular press as a national expert on social inequality, HIV/AIDS, and societal safety nets. To share her list of awards and publications would keep me before you for about 20 minutes, and I don't think you're going to do that. Dr. Watkins-Hayes holds a PhD and a master's in sociology from Harvard University and a bachelor's from Spelman College, where she graduated summa cum laude. Throughout her career, Watkins-Hayes has served in numerous academic leadership positions, including Associate Vice President for Research, Chair of the Department of African American Studies, and founding director of the Ascend Faculty Development Program at her previous institution, Northwestern University. She served on the Board of Trustees of Spelman College for over a decade in various leadership roles, leading the search process for the college's 10th president. She is a founding steering member of the Black Trustee Alliance for Art Museums, having served on the board of directors of the Detroit Institute of Arts from 2017 to 2021. We thank you. Dr. Watkins-Hayes, we know that great things really happen when women gather. It is with great pride that I present to you our featured speaker for today, Dr. Celeste Watkins-Hayes. Let's welcome her with a special.
Appreciate that.
Are you good with the microphone or you rather?
Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's double up.
Wonderful. Okay. And then this is screwed up, so I might have to be your clicker for you. Okay, is that okay, or do you want me to switch like the computer?
No, that's fine.
I mean, I have to control it. now.
Oh, yeah. All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's truly an honor to be with you today, and I'm going to click on my microphone because you're gonna see that I'm a mover when I talk. I am not a huge fan of talking behind podiums, partly because of my height, but also because I want to be in more intimate and close conversation with you. So can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So with the help of Roberta, I'm gonna talk to you today about when women gather. And what I want to do, first of all, in this image is just to offer you an invitation to the Ford School. I want to invite you to come to our events. We have Bill de Blasio joining us for a talk on Monday. We just had Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo a few weeks ago. We've had Christopher Wray in the last year. We've had Jay Johnson. We've had ambassadors. We've had a whole host of people. We'll be having Lori Lightfoot in the months to come. And we are super excited about all that we do at the Ford School, but part of the crown jewel of the University of Michigan is our engagement with public officials and public servants. And the Ford School is often the place that hosts those individuals. And we also work with Wallace House to bring journalists to campus. Jake Tapper is coming this Friday. Did you all know? I mean, there are so many amazing people who come to the university, and the Ford School is really, really proud of our important role. As you know, in terms of academics, we offer a bachelor's program. Students come in at the junior year. We offer a master's in public policy program, which is the program that most people are familiar with.
master's in public affairs, and a PhD program. So we are moving and shaking at the Ford School. And what I want to impress upon you is the way in which the Ford School has really enjoyed outstanding leadership throughout the years. From Ned Ramblick to Becky Blank to Susan Collins, who you see here, to my immediate predecessor, Michael Barr. Really, I am in the fortunate position of being able to polish what is already a diamond. So these are members of our, some of the members of our senior team, back when they were working with Susan Collins. So I'm really excited to send you greetings on behalf of the Ford School. We've got a bigger team and a slightly reconfigured team, but this captures a moment in time when Susan, Collins was dean. If we could flip to the next slide. So I wanted today just give you a sense of who I am. I loved how our First Lady gave you a sense of her background and history, because it helps you understand a leadership style, and it helps you understand how do these folks who are in administrative positions at the University of Michigan end up in front of you, to give you some greater context. And then I want to pivot to my theme around when women lead. So if we could flip to the next slide. I'm actually from Michigan. Hometown, grew up in Southfield, Michigan. My parents, Walter and Harriet Watkins, who, when we click on the family, and we can, the way you can do it.
I know,
There we go.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so these are my parents in the top left corner with my paternal grandparents. My parents grew up in the segregated South of Nashville, Tennessee, and grew up in loving homes where they really believed that they were going to be able to do anything. But they understood and recognized the constraints, the ways in which segregation shaped where they lived, where they worked, where they were educated. And in 1968, my dad got a job offer to come to Detroit, Michigan, and become a management trainee at what was then the National Bank of Detroit. And my paternal grandparents, Catherine and Walter Watkins Sr. on the right, my paternal grandmother was a school teacher. My grandfather parked cars for a living and was a bank messenger. So imagine what it would mean for a bank messenger to have his son move into a management trainee program. So off Harriet and Walter went to Detroit. And by the time my father retired, he was president of Bank One, Michigan. The son of a bank messenger came here as a management trainee in National Bank of Detroit and moved up the ranks to First Chicago NBD, to National Bank of Detroit, NBD Bank, First Chicago NBD, Bank One Michigan, and now Bank One Michigan is part of Chase. So the way in which Michigan has been a huge part of the story of upward mobility and opportunity for my family helps you understand why I am here today. I wouldn't be here without the opportunities that this state provided my family. My mother was a school teacher before she retired. She was a home economics teacher at a school for pregnant and parenting teenage girls named Catherine Ferguson Academy. Catherine Ferguson, I see people nodding, had a farm and really a staff that was dedicated to making sure that young women had opportunity. And my mother had that job until she retired. These are my parents in the present day. And in the bottom right is my sister, who is in Atlanta and head of the Braven Foundation in Atlanta. And they work with college students to help provide opportunities around career placement and career development. So you see, I come from a family of servant leaders. I come from a family that is closely tied to community, that believes in giving back, that believes in lifting as we climb, and believes in the power of education to transform lives for the better. So it's therefore not surprising, as we flip to our next slide, that I would choose a school that was pretty well known in my family. And we can flip to the next arrow of Spelman College, where my sister went. I should say, I actually was highly resistant to going to the same college as my sister. But when I went to go visit her, I knew I will apply and then we'll see what happens. And then I'll apply to the other schools that I really want to go to. I applied to Spelman early decision. and was admitted. And I just knew, you ever have a feeling that you're just supposed to be somewhere? I just knew this is where I was supposed to be. So I didn't apply anywhere else once I got into Spelman. If you click on the arrow for me, Roberta, you'll be able to see this picture up close. Spelman is a women's, historically black college for women, founded in 1881. The women you see on the screen are the descendants of slaves. These were women who, in the dawn of the turn of the century, had family members who sent them to what was then known as Spelman Seminary, where they would learn to read and do math and cook and find careers that would eventually lead them into upward mobility. And I say cook for a reason, because we can't kid ourselves in believing that once these women got their degrees, they would then go on to lead organizations and to be able to be the captains of industry. These are women who were getting education, knowing that there was a very good chance that they would be doing similar jobs to the jobs they then had access to without the education. But they nevertheless understood the power of learning. And many would go on to be school teachers in their communities and social workers and other professions. But Spelman, whenever I look at this picture, you understand how I see myself as a direct line from these women to, if we could click, to this woman, if we could click, to this woman, who's standing with the Vice President of the United States. The way in which women have the ability to build institutions, even within systems of patriarchy, even within systems of racial injustice, even in systems of homophobia, even in systems of religious hatred, the way in which women can gather and women can take a little seedling of something. Imagine the budget and resources of Spelman College in 1881 and how minimal the resources were. To be able to build from that first picture to this, a college that is thriving, doing quite well, and now hosting the first woman vice president of the United States is significant. And it reminds us of our power when we gather and when we lead and when we live up to the potential that I know we all have. As you click to the next slide, this just gives you a sense of some of the, oh, if we could go back.
I'm sorry.
Some of the buildings on campus, we have modern buildings that were more recently built, but I always like to show some of the older buildings that were built at the turn of the century, and just the longevity of the school. And in the bottom right, you will see me with my mentor, who I was literally just with yesterday, Dr. Janetta B. Cole, who was president of Spelman when I was a student. Janetta Cole was the first Black woman president of Spelman College, started the role in 1987. Think about that. Spelman was founded in 1881, and it was not until 1987 that the school had a president that looked like the students going to the school. Now, to be fair, we had amazing righteous leaders, but think about the power of representation. So her presidency was in fact historic, and we have a book that we just published called Speechifying that is a compilation of some of her most iconic speeches throughout her career as president of Spelman and then Bennett College for Women and director of the Smithsonian's Museum of African Art. She's had a storied career. You might recognize the person standing with us on the left. That is one of the stories that also I often tell people is that I had a role on the board of trustees, as we talked about in the introduction, but I was actually the student trustee first. So I was a student member of the board, and I was often in these meetings. Imagine Bridget Hubbard having a student in the conversations, talking about fundraising and curriculum and the strategic plan of the institution. Imagine a 19-year-old sitting in on these conversations. And there was another young student in those meetings with me, the head of the Student Government Association, Stacey Abrams. So really, again, when women lead and when they're given opportunities and opportunities early, the seed that it plants in terms of what might be possible. Being on that Spelman board is why I'm standing before you. It got me excited about higher education. That's what sparked the flame in me thinking, I want to dedicate myself to colleges and universities, and this is the place where I want to work. Next slide, please. So I would go on after Spelman, next slide, please, to build a career around research related to inequality. And the question that drives my research is this one that you see at the top. How do we address the dynamics that limit human potential? It's the question that's at the heart of all of my work. It's the question that's rooted in my parents' history, travels through my family's experience here in Michigan, is the thread through my time at Spelman, and is partly through what animates my research career. I believe in the power of research, teaching, speaking, policy analysis, and community engagement to confront the challenges that limit access to opportunity and perpetuate inequalities. So here you'll just see a visual of what does my scholarly career look like? How would I capture it in images? You see my 3 book covers for the New Welfare Bureaucrats, Remaking a Life, and Speechifying, the book with Dr. Cole that I just talked to you about. Remaking a Life focuses on women living with HIV and writes about their activism and engagement in the HIV movement. So you see some images here of HIV activists that I've had the opportunity to study. Community organizations are a huge part of my work. I'm often working in partnership with community organizations to make sure that I'm understanding the issues on the ground and I'm being of service and I'm getting the word out about some of the key issues. You'll see other images from my work on HIV, writing that I've done, places that I've been. One of the things that I so appreciate is in a given week, I might be talking to you, I might be talking to folks in a church, mosque, or synagogue, I might be in Washington, D.C., I might be in the classroom, I might be back at Spelman, and all of those different places and areas that I traverse, I might be at a community organization, all of that is by design. And so much of that replicates and mirrors what we in fact do at the Ford School. The way in which we're talking to policy leaders, we're engaged with corporate leaders, we're in Washington, D.C., we're in community organizations, we've got a presence in Detroit, we've got a presence in Flint. All of the different ways in which the Ford School tries to be in multiple places to do the work, I think it is a match made in heaven in terms of how I approach my own work. Next slide, please, and next slide, please. So let's talk about when women lead. Next slide, please. As I think about what do we bring to the table, what is it about when we gather and then when we lead? What is the work that we're doing? What do we contribute to the conversation? We look at the next slide. I think one of the things that we do is we are truth tellers. And I bet even when this is within this organization, you can think about, in terms of your institutional history, moments where you have had to tell the truth to the university, to our leaders, including deans, et cetera, about how we need to be called higher. So we play a really important role in terms of being truth tellers, being able, when sometimes we're not invited to speak. The secret weapon we bring to the table is that it gives us the time to observe and watch. It gives us the time to listen. It gives us the time to strategize. So that when we do finally get the mic, a mic we have fought for and continue to fight for, we are able to speak truth to power. So I see our role critically as truth tellers. The next thing that we do is we are waymakers. We're often knocking on doors, pushing them hard open, kicking them open when we have to. Sometimes we're the only ones in the room that look like us. Sometimes we're blazing a trail, we're making history, and we are making a way to show what is possible. And then finally, as we click to the next slide, we are role models. We are hopefully always remembering that we may be the first in some situations, but we better not be the last. We have to always think about how do we bring those coming up behind us even higher. And I'm so appreciative and impressed by the scholarship work that you do and all of the different ways in which through your individual acts, but what you're doing collectively as an organization has a history around truth-telling, way-making, and role modeling. Next slide, please. So as I close, I want to just lift up someone who I think embodies this. In the introduction of me as a speaker, you heard the name Jean E. Fairfax. And I don't know if you all know this, but the collegiate professors at the University of Michigan, whenever you have a faculty member who has a collegiate professor title, they get to have a role in naming the person for which their professorship is named. It's an amazing tradition. I don't know if it's university-wide, but it's definitely how we do it at the Ford School. So I was so excited when my predecessor, Dean Barr, said, when he was recruiting me, you have an opportunity to name yourself as a named professor. So I wanted to do my history and I wanted to do my research. And if you click on the next slide, I chose Jean Fairfax to name my professorship after. Someone had to break the pattern, she once said. And very often, the civil rights revolution was initiated by the most vulnerable of Black people. Many of them were women, and many of them were children. Tough, resilient, hopeful, beautiful. The greatest experience of my life was standing with them as they took risks. These are the words of Jean Fairfax, class of 1941 at the University of Michigan, lived off campus due to the residential segregation of the university. By her senior year, she helped develop the all-women's Muriel Lester Cooperative House. It was the university's first interracial housing exclusively for women. She went on to become a civil rights activist and philanthropist, graduated Phi Beta Kappa from the University of Michigan, philosophy major. After her time at U of M, she received a master's degree in comparative religions and a joint degree program at Union Theological Seminary and Columbia. Her life's work centered on promoting racial equity in education. In 1965, Fairfax joined the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, where she organized and assisted Black families in the rural South negatively impacted by early school desegregation efforts. She was often the one that would show up at the home of a family who was about to desegregate a school, sit with them, be with them before their child entered and the family entered into this fraught environment. Fairfax's commitment to educational equity also extended to her work with historically Black colleges and universities, as she helped to prevent often their downgrade and closure in the face of financial constraints. Later in her career, Fairfax partnered with her sister, Betty H. Fairfax, to promote educational equity through philanthropy. Since 1987, the endowments that the Fairfax sisters created have distributed over $1 million to educational initiatives that serve underrepresented and underserved communities. The Jean Fairfax Scholarship here at U of M recognizes students with demonstrated scholarly potential and a record of leadership who will continue the tradition of excellence at the University of Michigan. And one of the greatest honors of my life is to have a professorship that I have named in her honor. So as we sit with these photos and just see from her time at U of M and at the end of her career and all of these moments in between, when women gather, we have the potential to lead. We have the potential to move mountains. We have the potential to be part of and spark social movements. We have the potential to educate communities. We have the potential to transform institutions and to in turn transform lives. When women gather, we lead. Thank you so much.
And are there one or two questions from the audience? I think there are some cards on the table. I think there are cards on the table. Is there a question?
tables have them, I was. Okay. Go ahead. You already answered.
He said wonderful, I present comments, and it's honestly very inspiring.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You can vote the cards on here.
How did you come to learn about,
Oh, Jean Fairfax. So the question was, how did I come to learn about Jean Fairfax? So when Michael and I talked about the possibility of what I would name my professorship for, the Bentley Historical Library was extremely helpful and important. And I basically charged him with the following: find me a U of M alum who is unsung and has done really amazing racial justice work. And I really want someone who also helps us understand deeper history. So I wanted someone who had graduated or had a connection to the university many decades ago. And one of the things when they suggested Jean Fairfax that really resonated with me is not just her career in the NAACP and civil rights and her philanthropic work, but the fact that she started doing this work she came to the university in 1937. So just imagining what it was like to be a Black woman at U of M in 1937 was beyond my imagination for what I could picture in terms of what her experience must have been like. And learning that she graduated Phi Beta Kappa and was a philosophy major, and understanding the struggles she must have gone through, but also the way in which she fully leveraged the opportunities that were available to her, and the way that she fully engaged, and the truth telling, the way making, and the role modeling that she must have had to do on a day-to-day basis just really resonated. Yes.
And then I am gonna ask a question that young children ask. All that you do have a family.
I do.
I don't see you do it all.
And I'm shifting to that right after I leave here. So I have a 9-year-old daughter, and it's actually her birthday today. So Harper's birthday is today, and I have an 11-year-old son named Hunter. And I still live 10 minutes from my parents because it's all the village. So I actually live about 55 minutes from here. So I trek back and forth to campus with the village helping me make it all work. And my husband Reggie is at Consumers Energy. He's the CFO there.
So it does indeed take a village.
It does indeed take a village, and a lot of coordination on Google Calendar. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dean Watkins-Hayes. My name is Katrina Wade Golden, and I serve as the Associate Vice Provost and Deputy Chief Diversity Officer at the university. And I'm going to take an opportunity to draw a connection. So I appreciated the comments of our Regent Hubbard regarding the launch of DI 2.0 this fall. And I've addressed this body around the DI effort, and there are 51 units. And the Ford School is one of those units involved in it. So in terms of drawing the connection, I wondered if you might share just a little bit about what you're excited about as it relates to our DI 2.0 effort within the Ford School.
Oh, thank you so much, Katrina. I appreciate that question. You know, one of the things that I think we should be really proud of is the way our DEI work through 1.0, but also the current plan of 2.0 really is systematic and systemic. So there is a significant push to make sure that all units on campus are thoughtful and intentional and have a plan around DE&I. the first thing that we do is we study ourselves. We look at what are we doing well and where are we falling short. The next thing that we do is we get to imagine together what might be possible. How do we create opportunities for greater access at the University of Michigan? And I love also the way that President Ono often talks about the university as the university for Michigan. So that's a kind of key animator of how we think about our, how do we expand inclusion. And then we get to dream and imagine with very, very cool initiatives. So whether we're thinking about recruiting a diverse faculty, whether we're talking about work that we're now doing at the Ford School to really encourage students to be able to talk across ideological diversity. And I would also add serious other areas of tension. And, you know, we're seeing it right now in the news where so much of our call and our charge as a Ford School is we have got to train leaders who understand how to talk across difference, whether it's ideological difference, religious difference, racial, gender, you name it. And we have been thinking about how do we make sure that we're building a toolkit for students to be ready to lead in this space. So it's part about diversifying who we are, who's teaching the classes, who are we recruiting, who's part of our staff, but also diversifying what we do and really answering the call for all of these world complexities of now we've got to add this additional layer to thinking about how we lead. Now we've got to be thinking in this direction and that direction. So the other thing that I like about our DEI work is it is proactive, but it is also responsive to what we see in the world. So part of, you know, the conversation we've even been having over the last couple of weeks is, you know, what are the lessons in this very horrific moment in our world in terms of how are we translating that into a better Ford School education? And the third thing that I'll say in terms of it's not just about who we are and what we teach and who's in the space and what are we embarking, but also climate. How are we creating a community of belonging where people feel as though and know it that they belong and are connected? Because as you hear in my story, so much of my story is connection to institutions that have been life-changing. I want to make sure that everybody who is at the Ford School, students, faculty, staff, have that sense of, or have an opportunity to have that sense of connection and belonging to us as a community. So I'm really excited about the work. Thank you for the question. Yes.
Do you have at the Ford School any programs or initiatives that you are sharing with the School of Social? It seems like the two schools have a lot of commonality in purpose, and in terms of policy, someone's got to put those policies into motion besides politicians. Once they're made, then you have to have others who are going out there and doing the work.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I have a great partner in Dean Beth Angel. She's fantastic. And so we have a joint degree between the Ford School and the School of Social Work. And it's actually one of our larger joint degree programs, I believe. We also do a lot of programming together. So we're going to be doing some events together. And the other thing that we try to do is I would say that the boundaries are very porous in terms of things that are practicing in the social work school that translate into the Ford School. So we've started talking a lot more about borrowing from social work. How do you hold space in a community? How do you think about community engagement? How do you think about community partnerships so that we are not extractive as we engage with communities? And so much of that thinking, the School of Social Work has been doing that work as well and has been thinking through those questions as well. So there's a lot of kind of cross-fertilization of ideas, but also the ethos and spirit that we want to bring both to our respective schools, but also as we do our community engagement work. Yes, yes.
First of all, thank you so very much for the presentation today. I was curious, I did read that the University of Michigan just had a record number of incoming freshmen, so they're doing well with that. But my question is, how many, or what is the percentage of African-American students at the Durham Board of Public Policy, School of Public Policy. And also, have you seen an increase in women, African American women specifically? When you talk about social work and public policy, are we really reaching out to, and we do need to have some strong Black women come through that program, and I'm glad to hear what you have to say and to hear about Spelman and all that your parents do as well. So thank you. I was part of the BAM movement, so each time we try to see the numbers increase, and here we are years later. And I'm just curious, what do we see at the Durham Park?
Yes, thank you for that question. So we tend to be more diverse at the master's level than we are at the BA level. And part of that is because we are basically recruiting from the University of Michigan. So part of what we've been talking about is with our BA program, how do we make sure that we're attracting students and making sure students know that the Ford School is a place for them, and that this is, you know, not a place to be intimidated about or et cetera. And also we're trying to get students earlier, because part of what we're learning is, just in the couple of years that I've been here, if we start advertising for the major coming in junior year, sophomore year, some of the students, if you're not in the know, if you weren't at a fraternity house or a sorority house or a student organization that told you, oh, you've got to start your prerequisites really early, by the time we get to you with our formal programming, the person has already kind of missed the boat because they haven't taken the prerequisites. So we are trying to kind of think through what are the mechanisms we can use to get students early so that they know about us even in the first year, as opposed to like in the middle of the second year, which is often when students first hear about the Ford School or know about the Ford School. With respect to the master's program, we're really working on our pipeline program. So I started a program called Aspire, where we recruited women from Spelman to come and spend the summer at the Ford School. We're going to be expanding to other historically Black colleges and universities. We hope to expand to Hispanic serving institutions. We're also trying to think about ways that we can build out those summer programs as pipelines so that people get to know us. And our PPIA program, I know this is a very acronym-rich place, Public Policy Engagement Action, I think, brings students in for the summer to participate in programs like that. So we are working on it, and we're super mindful and trained on how do we make sure that that we're increasing the representation of students from underserved backgrounds at the Ford School.
That's what we need, and we appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. Awesome. Wonderful. This has been great.
A handful of additional questions for the dean, but I know that everyone is eyeing the lunches, and so we're going to start for lunch now.
Nelson gonna do it?
The caterer, because I think, she will, if you show your menu selection, they will bring your lunch to you. Oh, excuse me, I forgot. This is the close of our program. Jocelyn then, who was on the tech team, she was to bring the closing, but she's lost her voice, so I'm speaking for her today. And in closing, let me thank everyone who participated in the program. Let me thank everyone who was here to receive the wonderful information. And I would like the program committee members to please stand as they work out the hour. Now I'll say one after two.